We continue this afternoon's press conference. We have head coach Pascal Jansen. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. We'll get started with Roberto.
Pascal, good to see you. In Charlotte, you came out with a very aggressive formation. You had a change that I don't think most people expected, using Kevin O'Toole up on the left wing, and you were on the front foot, especially for most of the first half. Can you tell us what went into the design of what you wanted to do tactically for that game, and why you decided to go that way?
I would say in general, that's our approach in every game. Personnel change was there with Kevin on the left flank. And we analyzed, of course, where we have to improve our game in order to have good pressure in these high moments. And then also take good care of the intentions and the ideas that Charlotte has as well. So the first half, mainly, we were I thought, very impressive as well with this pressing strategy. Very successful, but not successful enough, because we had a lot of regains on their half and simply didn't reward ourselves enough in order to get more out of it.
Can you describe what you were watching when Alonso decided to weave through the entire defense and score that goal? Can you tell us how you were watching that and reacting to it?
Without sounding, what's the right word? Not so surprised, I guess, because I see him train every day. And when he's in a good place, he shows magnificent things on pitch as well throughout the week. So this was impressive, of course. Came at a right moment also for us. But it shows how much personality and quality Tico has. So I was very pleased for him, and even more pleased for the team.
Well, last one for me. So Saturday, they get Wilfried Zaha back. But aside from that, what are the keys for your team to come out successful and not have to go back to Charlotte?
It starts with the same mindset that we had going into game number one. Fully aware of the fact that we're able to beat the opponent, Charlotte in this case, in a way that we like to play also, because that's what we also try to establish every game, is that we play the game as we like to play it, and also respect the opponent, of course, and be aware of their plans and their intentions, but also be ready to adapt and be flexible in certain situations so you can control in and out of possession. And that was the case in the first half. So there's good lessons from the first half, and there's also good lessons from the second half, because our game in possession changed. We weren't as clean as we were in possession in the first half. But then we had to rely a little bit more on our defensive structure, which is something that was pretty decent throughout the game.
Thank you.
Christian?
Just sticking with Zaha for a moment there, does that change anything tactically for you in terms of how you mark them, or how you put your players out there and kind of put the formation in?
No, we just have to be aware of the strength and weaknesses he brings with him. Obviously, we played him in game one and game two during the regular season. Wilfried is an important player for Charlotte. That's something that we're aware of. So him coming back in the team will have impact, of course, and we'll have our plan ready again going into game two, and fully aware of his qualities.
Defensively, the last two matches you've played against Charlotte, you've managed to keep them off the scoreboard. What has it been, especially that last game in the first half? It seems like you really limited those opportunities. Defensively, what have you been able to figure out about them to continue to make that happen? And how do you now translate that to game two on Saturday, when you know they're going to be much more aggressive on the attack?
Yeah, it's something that's quite obvious, because it's the playoffs, so they know what's at stake. But the same goes for us. We know what's at stake as well. So if we get the job done in game two, it will be 2 games only, which is supported by our mentality throughout the season, and that's the game-by-game approach. So that doesn't change going into this game. The one thing I do want to mention is that our game in possession has to be clean over 2 halves, and not just only the first half like it was on Tuesday, to have a better balance throughout the game. So that's something that we have to be aware of, and that will help us also maintain good control and their offensive approach, which most likely will be there in game number 2.
You guys don't normally have this stretch where you play teams consecutively like this. I mean, does it make it more challenging for you as a coach, or is it easier to prepare when you kind of know what you're up against? And I guess it could be the same thing for them, where they know what you guys are doing.
No, I think because the game itself is so interesting, you have to be aware of anything that can happen in the game and then have your scenarios ready in order to adapt and deal with it. And that is something that we've been addressing throughout the season and has helped us get to the place where we are at the moment. So that doesn't change. Does it help us prepare for game number 2 with this game played just on Tuesday? We'll have to see. We approach it as we played the first half on Tuesday. We're in halftime now, and we're coming out the dressing room now to play the second half. And our goal is to avoid extra time, and their goal will be to get that third game. So that's going to be a very interesting spectrum.
Does it give you more of an inclination or maybe motivation to maybe change a couple things here and there? Players who start as opposed to who's subbing in, things like that. Maybe this sort of doesn't look exactly like it did on Tuesday that does Saturday, or is you kind of just go, all right, it worked on Tuesday, why change it?
If I would tell you that, that would be very, very unusual for me. So that's the one I keep to myself.
John?
DJ John, Hot 97, with 5 yellows in the last match. In the second half, there was a tussle that could have got a little crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That team got a little aggressive. Your team is definitely aggressive. I'm expecting it's going to be a little more aggressive this time around with these two teams going at it.
Yeah, there's a lot at stake.
A lot at stake, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're going up against each other, who's
Outside of the pitch, you mean?
yeah, who's going to throw that first?
Well, let's keep it decent and make sure that we have a proper fight on the pitch, based on football. I know what you're referring to, the Rumble.
Love it.
Yeah, and that's the approach from our dressing room in general. So if something happens, we're all there for each other. We protect each other. We take care of each other. Sometimes we have to be a little smarter to make sure that we're not the only ones getting the yellow card. But yeah, there's still things to learn.
One more quick question. Comparing fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Charlotte's different.
Mm-hmm.
Now New York, you're in the Bronx, you're in the Mecca.
Yeah,
It's now intense. Playoff intensity to the all-time high.
I hope so.
What do you expect from these fans? I mean, that's another advantage that luckily we're able to have.
Yeah, very true. That's our advantage for winning game number 1 in Charlotte. Very hard to beat Charlotte away also, and now they're coming to our crib, as Tavon mentioned. In the Bronx, it's going to be electric, because what I've seen over the season when we play in the Bronx, it's like you said, it's intense, but it should be intense, and we enjoy that. So hopefully the atmosphere will be there. The fans will be going crazy for the team, and hopefully we'll get the job done.
Thank you. Pascal, just to kind of bounce off that previous question. In terms of the physicality, the aggressiveness, how do you make sure that your team is prepared for that battle, but that they're not in the mindset where they're being too careless, where they let their emotions get the better of them?
Yeah, that's the interesting one. But like I mentioned a couple of times in previous press conferences, I think our toolbox is filled enough throughout the seasons with the lessons that we've learned over the season. And our intention is to keep a blue head, as we call it. So make sure you play with the aggression that is needed to win games and play our style. But just make sure that in the upper level, you keep a blue head and control your emotions when needed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Onto the Zoom, we'll go with Christian.
Hi, Coach. Just reflecting on that toolbox for a second, and thinking back to things like the bulletproof mindset, reflecting for 24 hours. How many of those tools did you enter this job with the playoffs in mind for, that they would possibly benefit?
Well, there's 2 that you've mentioned already, which helps us get our mindset straight, especially with these back-to-back games and fast turnovers. Taking care of your body is one of them as well, making sure that is part of your toolbox. So your regen routines is something that we emphasize a lot throughout the season. and there's loads more, but I won't share them all with you just now, Kristen.
JR?
Hey, Pascal,
Hi.
JR to Bar
Yeah,
Blue City Radio. Thanks for the time.
you're welcome.
Just a general question on the club, not unrelated to this weekend's game.
Mhm.
Who's the active sporting director of this club, and are you taking more of a hands-on approach for those responsibilities since David Lee left?
Yeah, it's a great question, but I'm not the person to answer that question. So I have to refer to you to go and see Brad Sims, our CEO, who can answer these type of questions.
Christian, you have another one?
I do actually. Just I guess reflecting, coach, back on the start of the year and where we sit now.
Mm-hmm.
Were games like Saturday, Yankee Stadium, big atmosphere, was that some of the appeal for you to come here?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Yeah. I realize that we're very fortunate to be part of this playoff this season. The MLS season in the East has been also very intense and very interesting because you've seen how close the top 9 was until the last round of the MLS season. So having experienced that and now the playoffs is something that I could only dream of as a coach coming into the MLS. So my toolbox as a coach has been filled also throughout the season.
Great. Thank you, everybody.